Hey, it's Alex D. back again for an update on the Preserve the Beat campaign. We're up to $8,000. Isn't that amazing? In a month. Just from the community. Just from the community. I'm just so grateful. But we need to keep going. I've only got 3 weeks left to raise the rest of this money. So please, if you haven't donated, please dig in. I've got some news. I went after the Heritage Minister for money for this project, and I finally heard back from her. I'll post the letter or the notice on the Facebook page. But in a nutshell, she said she appreciates the significance of the project, but there's no funding for it because they don't have any money. Now to this, I asked, what happened to it? Where is the money? And she said she didn't have any discretionary budget or there are no programs that this qualifies for. It's too big for programs, or it's too small for programs. It doesn't fit in their little categories. Now this is something she could override as minister for this project. There's a grant available for museums that is just this amount that we need. But since we're not a museum, we don't qualify for this. And museums in Canada can't handle a collection of this size anyway. So I'm willing to do the work here in the studio to digitize it to standards that are even better than museum standards here in Canada. So the Heritage Minister, in her wisdom, could override this and extend the grant that applies to museums to apply to our corporation so that we could scan and digitize this collection. I mean, this is a very simple thing for her to do. But no, she's not going to do that. And also, no discretionary budget. Well, this is the government that the cabinet went to PEI last summer for a 3-day vacation, which was supposed to be a meeting about affordability in the middle class. Now, this 3-day jaunt to Charlottetown cost Canadian taxpayers $500,000. The meal budget alone was over $150,000. So when I see that kind of discretionary spending coming from this government, this liberal government, when I hear her say, the ministers say, oh, we don't have the discretionary budget, like, the lobsters and the cigars ate that up, didn't they? I mean, the minister's job is to preserve and protect Canadian culture, and this is a large slice of it that needs protection and preservation. And I'm a guy who has the energy and the drive to make it happen and to encourage others to participate. So far, we've raised $8,000 towards this goal. The minister could at least think about making up the difference at the end of the campaign, if there is any difference. But you see, this minister, we're at a disadvantage with this minister because this minister is not friendly to Canadian journalism and Canadian media. The Liberal government itself is not. For the last 7 years, they've worked diligently to pass 2 internet bills, C11 and C18. The media bill, C18, caused the direct loss of 10,000 journalist and media jobs in Canada. And the losses are continuing, even now, today. And as a result of these 2 laws that this government was hell-bent on passing. So all those journalists that no longer have jobs, it's on them. It's on this Heritage Minister, right? So I had a sense that she wasn't going to support this project because it involves the preservation of a Canadian media and a Canadian independent media entity like Tribe Magazine. So my request to her was already in the no tray as soon as it hit her office. Also, I've been quite outspoken against these policies over the last 7 years. I've been outspoken because I could see what would happen to journalists when the bills passed, and sure enough, that's what happened. Instead of saying, I told you so, I'm here trying to preserve and protect the legacy of a large cohort of Canadians from a time before smartphones. Now, granted, the minister's not going to understand that. I don't think. They're all too hell-bent on their self-preservation. They have no concern for the preservation of Canadian art or culture, or Canadian music, obviously. If she doesn't change her mind here, this will be a clear statement that she doesn't support Canadian music history. I mean, a simple stroke of a pen could expand that museum grant to include us, so we could do the work and get to do the work properly. And why should we be doing the work instead of a museum? Frankly, because we understand what these images are about. And here's what's really important about this project to me. I want to put context to these pictures. What do I mean by context? I mean, I want to describe where the photo was shot, when it was shot. If there was a DJ or a musician or artist there in the image, I want to name them because they're important to Canadian music history. That's the context. If it's a crowd shot in a building that doesn't exist anymore, I want to say that's what it is and why that happened. That's context. So this is what I want to apply to these photographs. Now, some museum, when I pass away, the minister probably thinks I should just give a box of film to the National Gallery or something and let them sort it out because they can qualify for this grant. But the thing is, they won't understand what this collection means. Now, we do. I do. And as well, these images tie to a printed magazine that already exists in the National Library of Canada, Tribe Magazine. And there's a third component. There's three components to this. The third component is the Tribe message board, which is 14 million posts deep and is a text-based record of the images. So it's a three kind of pronged archive, an incredibly rich resource for some future Canadian researcher to dig through and understand how Canadian electronic music was born. But you see, the Heritage Minister is not going to understand that. They are so down in the polls, they've long forgotten about Canadian music and Canadian culture. It's really sad, but whatever. I'm going to double my efforts to raise this money. If you can donate even $25, please do. Go to preservethebeat.com and donate a bit of money to this project so we can create this nice archive, digitize this collection, release the photographs for documentary films and books as we do it, and then eventually, when I'm gone, leave the entire thing to a Canadian entity for Canadians of the future to research, study, enjoy, and maybe build fashion labels and record labels from. How's that? Wouldn't that be nice? Madam Minister? Huh?